Good morning po to everyone. Live here at Washington, D.C. Hello po everyone. Kumusta po kayong lahat? Hello po, Ma'am Andre. How are you? I think you're muted po. There we go. Oh, it's still muted. Hold on. Nakamute po kayo. There we
Okay.
go.
Good evening po mga
Evening.
kapwa ko guro, mga kapwa, mga kakultura. Good morning, Sir Alan. I know it's very early in the morning there in Washington, D.C. Sana po masaya kayo dahil bumabalik na ulit tayo sa kolekteratura ngayong buwan hanggang sa mga susunod na buwan. Marami tayong mga guest writers dito sa kolekteratura at dito sa Iloilo po mainit yung panahon.
Dito rin po,
I hope
mainit
sa
na rin po dito sa Kwan.
Washington ganun din. So,
Yes.
hindi ko na patatagalin. Mainit na po. Ay, okay po. So, hindi ko na po patatagalin. Our guest for tonight po siya po ay President and Co-Founder of KOMIKET, a non-profit organization that aims to help nurture and grow the Filipino comics community. He is a publisher, lead lecturer of the Comic Book Creators Workshop, and the festival director of the Philippine International Comics Festival. Our guest is an indie filmmaker, advertising creative director, and comic book author. Mga kapwa, mga kakultura, let us welcome to Kolekteratura si Ginoong PAOLO Alessandro Herras. Makulturang gabi po, Sir Pao. Thank you po
Hello
sa
po.
papaunlak po sa amin dito po sa kapwa.
Thank you po for allowing us to have this moment with you po.
Thank you for inviting me. The past couple of days has been quite difficult, and that's why Ma'am Andre knows that, because I just came from a tooth extraction, dalawa. So that's why hindi ako makasalita for a few days. But
no.
But I'm
I
glad.
hope you're okay now po.
Yeah, I am. I'm recovering still, so I'll just do my best
Yes.
for tonight. But thank you again. This was planned January, so it was very unexpected to have to go through that immersion.
Oh.
But I'm happy to be here, and thank you again for inviting me.
Well, thank you po for being here. Yeah, I'm so excited to hear your your presentation, because I'm also a fan of graphic arts and comics and stories, and especially about our culture. I'm already a fan of your work even before I learn about it. So really can't wait.
Well, it's a great time to be a creator.
Mga linya po ni Sir Mark De Rosario.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's a great time to be a creator, because more and more Filipino comics are getting picked up by international publishers. So Trece and Myth Space is picked up by Ablaze. They're a comic book and graphic novel publisher in the US. They also recently picked up Manix Abrera's 12 and 14. And Tuttle Publishing picked up After Lambana, Mervyn Malonzo's After Lambana. They picked up Arnold Ares Mythology Class and Children of Bathala and Halina Filipina. And they're picking up more titles. And Fantagraphics also picked up Melag. So si Bong Revilla, who's based in the US. He's getting published by Fantagraphics. So more and more, that's the first wave, and more comic books are hopefully will continue to get picked up.
Oh, that's awesome po. Well, without further ado, we cannot wait to hear your presentation po. It's definitely a great time for creators to especially online creators to start creating their work. Ang daming mga magagaling na artists sa Pilipinas, and it's this is the time. Ano po?
All right. So do I just share my screen?
Yes po. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
And then me, Mama Andre will be out of the screen, and it's also only going to be you and your Kwampo presentation.
All right. How's that?
There we go.
Can you see my screen? Because I can't see you.
Yes, yes, po. We can see your screen.
All right. Okay, so I'll start. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm PAOLO Herras. Uh, I'm sure. I'm sure that you don't know me, so I'll give a short introduction. As I am an independent filmmaker. I've written, directed, and produced 4 full-length indie films. The last indie film that I directed is Buhay Habang Buhay. It stars Isa Calzado, and it also has a comic book or a graphic novel version, which we did before shooting it. Um, my day job is I'm an advertising creative director. I think the most famous work that I was able to write is Nescafe Classics Para Kanino Ka Bumaba Ang campaign, which was written and produced back in 2010, and it's still the campaign and the tagline being used today. But today I am sharing with you my comic book work, Strange Natives. It's a 2017 National Book Award finalist. Yeah, this is more about this is a scene from Buhay Habang Buhay and Strange Natives. So the work that I do, um, I love writing for comics, and it's mainly because the stories that I like to tell um, really touch into that Filipino identity, no? And so when it comes to conceptualizing uh, work, no, I would try to tap into my inner native, no? And that has been one of the roots of the creative process of my creative process as I create my stories for comics and graphic novels. So today I'll be sharing with you my work Strange Natives, which is illustrated by my co-creator Jericho Marte. So which is this is the cover of the book. And the idea of Strange Natives comes from my studies in Philippine studies in UP UP Diliman. It's under the Filipino department. It's also known as Ariling Panlipunan. But there, what we learn there as students is, a lot of our cultural identity, our literature, our history has been written by the colonizers, by dictators, and people in power. So or with the capacity to tell stories, to tell the narratives of our land, and that and this one documents my own journey growing up in an English-speaking household, in an studying an English-speaking school that discourages speaking Filipino or reading anything Filipino. So it became my personal journey to get to know my roots and get to know my culture, our culture, and our identity. And it documents my experience as being a stranger in our own native land, and that's where the idea of strange natives come from. Um, and of course, this is a more fictional portrayal, no? That each of these are all of the strange natives in the screen. All of them will have one book. The Francis, the boy with Cappy's eyes, is the little boy that you see in the center. And but today's story is Gracia, the old woman behind him. His grandmother is the one beside him, the one on his right. So I'd like to welcome everyone, welcome all strangers. It's a pleasure to meet you. And you might find this strange, but this meeting feels oddly familiar. It is not by chance, it's designed by the native gods. Let's remember how strange this native land is before it's completely forgotten. This is a place where super and natural things occur, where past and present meet, where magic is still real. There are as many strangers as much as there are natives, but only a few stories are written, while the rest will be forgotten. And among these strange natives is a forgetful old lady named Gracia and her forgotten memories. So the strange natives is travels through time. Uh, this particular excerpt travels to the Spanish colonial period, um, Gracia's own childhood. So we enter Auntie's garden, which is a huge balete tree, and we hear the rustling of the wind, and we see the smoke that that Gracia's auntie is uh is burning some incense, and here she's peeping, seeing her auntie make an offering, and the nature spirits come as and accepting the offering. And Gracia may not notice, but her auntie knows that she's there, and she says, "It's rude to stare, Gracia." And the little spirits pull her in closer to auntie, and Gracia explains, "I'm just watching, auntie." The two have a conversation, and Gracia's auntie explains what she's doing and why she's not invited to the ritual. And she says, if your grandfather finds out, he'll be very angry. I must not involve you in the old ways. Gracia answers, but why can't I be like you, auntie? Her auntie says, because Gracia, you must be white. Be white like the white man. Walk and talk like the white man. Believe what the white man believes. White as a symbol of purity and cleansing. And we see the spirits that are elemental, so they're a little bit brownish and slowly turning white as emphasis. Gracia answers, but that means I will be different. Even if I'm like you, I will be like them. I will be white, even if I'm brown. That's strange. Gracia's auntie replies, we're all strangers, no matter how strange or estranged, no matter how white, brown, or gray, we are all natives. Pieced together, we become familiar, we become whole. This is the fate decided by the ruling gods. Some win and conquer, some lose and become forgotten. That is how we die in this world, when no one remembers anyone and anything anymore. The invaders can kill our gods, replace our tongues, change our minds, but they cannot crush our spirit. Our spirit is strong, it carries on. For how long? No one knows. But now the old world ends with me, and the new world begins with you. Can't I look back? Gracia asks. I can always look back. Her auntie replies, you will not understand what you're watching. Gracia continues, then I guess there's no harm then, since I cannot remember what I don't understand. Gracia's auntie laughs. Till the tides change, till the wind blows a different way. Never forget, never ever forget this day. And here, Gracia's auntie teaches her how to remember, how to access this memory. So with her a flick of her hand, she creates a memory butterfly and implants it with that memory. So as the butterfly wings flitter, it's like a 35 millimeter film, like an old movie that plays. Gracia's delighted, being taught how to access this memory and to see this memory butterfly, and she asks, "Is it real?" Gracia's aunt replies, "It's as real as your memory of seeing it, except for this one." So she uses her hands, flicks it open, creates the butterfly. "This is my gift to you. May it serve you well when you need it." So this memory butterfly lands on Gracia's head so that she will always remember how to access memories. "Thank you, Auntie. I promise to never forget. Never ever." Gracia's aunt laughs. "Yes, Gracia, live long and happy, because everything fades. But first, we must learn to live. We fade when there's nothing for us to live for, so live a long and happy life. Live." And the rest of the graphic novel jumps from one memory to another, jumps through time, because when we remember, we do time travel. And this is Gracia as a child, as an old lady already, as a lola, and as a young, beautiful woman. So, yeah, the graphic novel focuses on the different memories. She has also the power to access other memories. In one part of the graphic novel, um, as she dwells in one memory, she sees a figure in the distance who tells her, "You cannot run away." And Gracia replies, "I want to be left alone." To which this being answers, "You are never alone, because you cannot leave me alone. You take pieces of me, you make me stay. If you want me to leave, you have to let me go." So here she meets a memory being, which consists of all of the memory butterflies. And this is in the middle of the graphic novel already. The memory being tells her, "You seem to be enjoying yourself too often, too much, Gracia. Who are you? Why do you know me?" The memory being answers, "I am memory. You can, if you want, live your life with me, live your past, present, and future with memory. You can stay, many do." "Stay?" Gracia asks. "Stay and keep watching with me." And with a wave of his hand, he opens another memory, which they enter, and they watched Gracia's childhood. With another wave of his hand, all of Gracia's memories appear in front of her like a screen, multi-panel screen. And they choose one, the memory of her child, Stephen. "He is such a beautiful boy. Can I just stay?" Gracia asks. "For as long as you want." But, but what? Your tone, it sounded disappointed, sad even. The memory being answers, "But this is all you will be. You have paused." "Is that a bad thing?" Gracia asks. "Maybe, if you stay for too long." "Then this is all you'll ever be, a woman looking at her memories." Gracia answers, "Maybe that's all I meant to be, watching." The memory being continues, saying, "That's your choice. Whether you stay or go, you will always be made up of me. For as long as you live, you will always be made up of memories. One day I will call you, one day I will call your name, and you will remember me, you will remember this day. But today is not the day, my beautiful butterfly. You are meant to make more memorable memories. You must live those out for us to enjoy. Until the time comes to just keep watching, flitter away, my butterfly. Flitter away." And Gracia says, "Until that day, memory, I will live. I will live each day." And that is the end of the excerpt of Strange Natives. And I know that's quite fast, no? But I also have another excerpt from the graphic novel, which was shot as a live action film, Buhay Habang Buhay. And this is just a quick um, teaser. No? So, ang pelikulang ito ay para sa patay. Sa patay na patay at nagpapakamatay. Para sa love life. Para sa lahat ng klaseng martir. Oras na para mag-move on. Marami pang magagawa sa buhay habang buhay. Para sa buhay habang buhay. So this is the official trailer of the film.
Hinihintay ko ang asawa ko. Sabay kaming aalis dito. Para sa patay. Sa patay na patay. At nagpapakamatay para sa love life. Para sa lahat ng klaseng martir. Oras na para mag-move on. Marami pang magagawa sa buhay habang buhay. Para sa buhay habang buhay.
And this is the poster. If you did enjoy the excerpts and the drawings of Strange Natives and Buhay Habang Buhay, this is one of the reasons why I also put up and co-founded a nonprofit organization called KOMIKET. We organize, we nurture and develop the Filipino comics community for other creators just like me, and we organize comics art markets around the country since 2015. We also organize, during the pandemic, we organized the Philippine International Comics Festival. It's the only comics festival in the world that selects comics pitches, develops the work with the creators in a creators lab. And when the manuscript is ready for publishing, we publish and launch it at the festival and make it available at our bookstore. So we have a bookstore that, an independent bookstore that sells the comic books from our communities and some independent authors, not non-comics, like fiction authors like Ricky Lee, Romance Class, and Wincy Ong. And this is the first batch of Pickoff, the first official selection. Our youngest is currently still in college, Mai and Tikoff. My name is Agung. is when we started in 2019, she was still first year college, but now she's, I think, almost graduating. And our oldest creator is in his 80s. His name is Alex Nino of Alandal. He's an Eisner Hall of Fame winner, inductee already. So we have that. Twinkle Twinkle on the lower right, Tori is by Tori Tadiar. She just signed a 3-book deal with Disney Books also. And this is batch 2 and batch 3. And hopefully uh, we get to continue this for a long time. So these are the creators, some of the creators in attending the Creators Lab. Because it's online, we have access to, we can provide opportunities to creators outside Metro Manila. So we have Ren Galeno on the top right, who is based in Davao City, and Yuri Pinson, who is in the middle of the leftmost part of the screen, wearing that Avengers shirt. She's based in Baguio City. And during the pandemic, KOMIKET was one of the few publishers that kept publishing, and our work was selected as part of the books that are represented in the Frankfurt Book Fair last year in October in Germany, and the London Book Fair last April. So it's the first time that the Philippines was represented in the London Book Fair. And if you notice that uh, the left shelf is comic books and graphic novels, because it's one of our country's best opportunities to get into the international arena in terms of books. And recently, we attended the Sharjah International Booksellers Conference last month in Dubai. So if you are interested in supporting Filipino comics creators and buying Filipino comics, we're available on Shopee and Lazada. If you are living in the Philippines, you just have to search Komiket with a K, KOMIKET, or on Facebook. You can find us at Komiket PH, or you can search for Secret HQ. This is where I currently am while doing this talk. I'm in the actual office of Komiket Secret Headquarters. And if you want to learn how to create comics, we hold annual comic book creators workshops. Tori Tadiar was batch 2. J. Ignacio of Alandal was batch 4. Mai Entico was also part of batch 4. 25% of the creators that get selected in the Philippine International Comics Festival are graduates of our workshop. So we're very proud of them. We're currently having the 8th, it's going to be our 8th year to hold the workshop this August 6, 7, 13, and 14. It's 4 days online. So you don't have to be in Metro Manila or in the Philippines to attend the workshop. You just have to register, and you'll be given the link to the workshop. And physical events are now coming back. We just finished Komiket Artigas the other week. We'll have a Comic at Iloilo. It's our first time to be in Iloilo. It's going to be held in SM City, Iloilo on July 15 to 17 from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. The entrance is free. The Philippine International Comics Festival is still going to be online. It's our 3rd year. It happens on all weekends of September via the Kumu app. Usually, if you buy a comic book from our bookstore, you will be given a festival pass that gives you free access to all of the 24 webinars of the Pickoff 2022 festival. So we hope to see you there. So you just have to download the Kumu app for free, follow Komiket, and create your own account as well. And our main events is on October 29 to 30 at Centris Elements, Quezon City from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And on December 2 and 3 will be our first PASCOMIKET, and it's going to be held in SM Mega Mall, Mega Trade Hall 2. So thank you, everyone. I'm Paolo Herras, comic book author and co-founder of KOMIKET.org. And thank you for having me for today.
Hello po, Sir Paulo. Thank you for your presentation. Um, you know, I we only know a few Filipinos who are actually into like the comics creation, and nakakabilib dahil you know with how much we've grown from yung mga comics noon sa Pilipinas, di ba? Um, and how much we continue to progress. Yun nga, with the 13 reading in Netflix, you know, and those just started from comics. So, what got for you, Paul? What got you started with the comics creation? Is it something that you're interested with since you were young, or
Well, I have been reading comics as a kid. I grew up on Asterix and Obelix and Tintin. Um, a lot of people grew up on funny comics and as well. So I have been, but it never crossed my mind to be a comic book author. I was a scholar at the Philippine Institute for the Arts as a creative writing major. So I was writing short stories. Then I got into film through the Ricky Lee script writing workshop, where Ricky Lee was my mentor. So that's how I shifted to film. It was in filmmaking that I realized that a lot of my stories don't translate well on live action films because of budget constraints. They usually deal with the supernatural, or the magic realism aspect of the Filipino experience. So, but it does well in comics, and so I found my niche. I was working in advertising at that time, where I met Tapay Pascual, who introduced me to comics because her thesis in UP Fine Arts is a graphic novel called Mactan 1521, which also became a National Book Award finalist. And that's where I fell in love with the community. I fell in love with the place because it was one of those magical places where people were selling their stories and people were buying them. So that's how it started, and that was 2012. And I wrote Strange Natives and published it in 2016. The first book was in 2014. So yeah, and then I fell in love with the community and put up the comic app.
so? What would be your po, your advice to those who are, because here at Kapua, most of our audience are teachers. And we would like to have them encourage their students to be a creator also. No matter what, actually, no matter what field they are now, they can be creator online. They can be creator of tutorials. They can be creator of anything. I mean, it's so vast, for any kinds of field. For someone, for an online creator po, what would you encourage the young individuals who would like to go on online creation, whatever it is, comics or videos?
Well, if you're very passionate about telling your own story, about telling your own original stories and creating original characters, it's the right, it's the it's a great time to be a creator, whether you're in film, animation, game development, or comics, because the value of original intellectual property is getting higher and higher. And this is something that is unprecedented because in the Philippines, people don't respect original content. Publishers and producers include it in uh, commissioned work, in contracts or employment, or freelance work. So but right now, the value is currently increasing, and the biggest chance to go international or to go global is currently comics, and nobody else has gone international except for animation, which is Hayupka, which is also another good opportunity. So visual storytelling uh, is the overarching path. Now, whether you're into animation, game development, film, or comics, uh, and comics is the most affordable because you can just post online and start building your following, building your readership online for free.
Yeah, that's really great information for especially now, not just to guide the young adults, young students who would like to go into online creation. And you're right. Something that I notice about the Philippines sometimes they don't they don't have much idea about original content, so they would there's a copyright. It's copyrighted, but they're using it in any way that they wish. But yeah, there needs to be a better understanding of how copyright law there is in the Philippines, so that they don't infringe on anybody's rights. Um, anyway, uh, like I said, I hope that for our teachers who are watching online, let's continue to support local goods. And these are those local products or local ideas that we need to keep promoting. In order for us to also promote our culture, our ideas. Uh, us Filipinos love to read, and that's for a fact. We love comics. Meron pa noon the time na those small novels and people we just like to carry them around. Um, but now,
You're right.
yeah,
Um, the Filipinos love to read, but they aren't reading local work. So
yes,
if
yes,
you are a teacher and you would love you to promote reading, please promote reading Filipino work, original
yes,
Filipino work. Whether it's comics or fiction, we have a lot of great writers. In depth ed, it's already proven through research that 70% of the books are in are foreign writers or foreign books due to other circumstances. So, but right now, Filipino published books are available on Shopee and are available on Lazada. So it's easier to buy books right now. You don't need to leave if you're not from Metro Manila. You can just buy, even if you are from Metro Manila, you can just buy for your library through Shopee and Lazada already. And to promote reading Filipino original Filipino work.
yeah, and that's very important that we support our own products. Not only to promote our literature, not only to promote our culture, but even the for the economy. It will also help the Filipino economy better. Um, again, sa mga teachers po natin, sana po supportahan natin yung sarili natin. Ano po. And that's what basically Colecteratura is. Colecteratura is basically featuring the different literatures that are either written by Filipino or about Filipino culture, and we're collecting them in this venue, which is Colecteratura. Um, Sir Paulo, thank you so much for your time, and we really appreciate this moment that we have with you. And we've learned a lot. Actually, we're gonna keep promoting this video that we've recorded. Hopefully, uh, teachers could also use it in their classroom, to learn about the comics industry, and not only that, it's an online content creation, and local products. That's what we encourage the teachers to do, is that use these videos in your classroom. That instead of like showing a American film, or instead of just having them read an American novel or something like that, this is a great video to show for literature classes, for history classes, even Filipino classes. You know what, Mark, or Paulo? What's hard is that even our Filipino history is written in English. So they're learning. Our history books are written in English, and that's kind of painful to see that our own history books are written in English, um, and not in Filipino. So hopefully, uh, with our own with how we are trying to promote our culture, we can encourage more writers and more content creators to create content na Filipino, to try to promote Filipino culture.
Yes, and not just in Filipino, but also in the other Filipino
Other
languages.
Filipino languages, yeah.
Because because in our effort to be global, in our effort to be global, we tend to let go of what is local, what is truly
Yeah.
ours. So and that also includes our languages. So
Mhm.
all the more, if it's very important to support our publishers from the regions, especially our own regions, uh, because it's very difficult. Publishing in the Philippines is very expensive, uh, even for international standards. Publishing in the Philippines is more expensive than publishing in the US, and that's because we do not produce our own paper, and that the readership is still very low, despite Filipinos loving to read. We're not reading uh, local books. So we hope to. That's the power of the teachers also, is to influence our students to read, and to read Filipino, or include it, at least include it. I mean, it doesn't. I'm not saying just read only Filipino, but include it in um in the list of reading materials.
Yeah, it should come first. Actually, our culture should reading about our culture, reading about our literatures, reading about you know ourselves should be the ones to come first before we go ahead and extend to. So I like what you said. In trying to be more globalized, we tend to forget about the local. But then it's it's right. When you try to become global, you forget about yourself. You're promoting using English, but then or promoting other cultures aside from yourself who benefits from it. So it's not us really, but the other cultures. Um, but anyways, Sir Paulo, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for giving us this moment with you. And we look forward to having more events. And sana po, when we finally go face to face, and we keep telling this to our guests, that if we could invite you to show us your work when we finally go face to face, meet up for Kapua, for all the members of Kapua. So
Sure,
yeah, looking forward to that.
sure, I'd love that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you can bring your comics, bring your products, so that we could experience it uh, on hand. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everybody, for giving us your your morning, your night. We look forward to having more events like this to bring to you. We have a couple other events that are lined up for the future. So continue to support Colecteratura by Kapua. So yes, thank you so much po. Have a great day to everyone. Thank you po again, Sir Paulo. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a pleasant evening.
Yes, thank you po.